Good evening, folks. Hopefully, by now you have voted if you are in the United States or if you live in a country where they were voting today that I, for some reason, don't know about. But yeah, I thought I would just not talk about the election tonight and just let the news play out, and we'll maybe talk about it tomorrow. But there are so many other things happening around the world that, hey, I thought I'd just take a few minutes to find out exactly what has been happening because we live in a vacuum half of the time and we have no idea what's going on around the world unless there's some big terrorist related event, and then it's all, oh, let's pray for XYZ country or city, or XYZ country and city strong. So let's just see what's happening. There's a few things. One of them is Ryanair. If you don't know, it's the airline called Ryanair. I can't remember which country it's originated from, but basically they fired a whole bunch of staff who were filmed in a picture for sleeping on the floor. And it's not that crazy of a story. I mean, I get why they did it. Basically, the as the story reads, there's an image which Ryanair says was staged, but it was widely shared online. And a Portuguese union representative has criticized the airline for firing the people. The staff was dismissed for gross misconduct. Over 20 crew members were stranded in Malaga back in October due to, I believe it was like weather issues. And so the crew basically laid down on the floor, and many people thought that was because Ryanair did not want to put the crew in a hotel. And that apparently was not the case, but that's not what people got from this picture that was taken. So the Portuguese union disagreed with Ryanair's summary of events, claiming that the crew were placed in a room without minimum rest facilities. The union said that crew members were left without access to food, drinks, and even a place to sit down, as there were only 8 seats available for the crew. And then this union, Portuguese union, confirmed that the staff were then finally moved to a VIP lounge later on. So the airline came under fire for the photo, but it is interesting. We'll see what happens to these 6 folks. I don't know if you can really see that great of a picture of these folks, these poor folks, if it is in fact really what happened. So yeah, that's one thing, right? The next thing is this whole well, let's talk about it. So, in recent events, we all have seen in the U.S. how the Nazi movement seems to just be taken off over here, with people dressing up for Halloween costumes, and you had the events that happened in Pittsburgh, and now in Germany. They're actually trying a former SS guard who was a guard at Stutthof camp. So a former SS guard has gone on trial in Germany, accused of complicity in mass murder at a Nazi death camp during World War II. This guy's like 94 years old. He identified as Johann Rehbogen. He's a 94-year-old. He served in the Stutthof camp in what is now northern Poland from June 1942 to September 1944. However, he denies knowing anything about the atrocities committed there, which I believe is pretty much the only way that you can possibly try to get out of these things. Because he was not age 21, he is being trialed in a juvenile court in Munster, Western Germany. Imagine that, being 94 years old and you're being tried as a juvenile. That's pretty interesting. So the former guard, he uses a wheelchair, faces a sentence of 15 years if convicted, but is unlikely to serve any time in prison because of his advanced age. His court appearance will be limited to 2 hours at a time for the same reason. Basically, the accusations are as follows. According to a court press release, the crimes include the use of Zyklon B poison gas to kill more than 100 Polish prisoners, at least 77 wounded Soviet prisoners of war, and an unknown number of Jewish prisoners said to be probably several hundred during World War II. The indictment lists other atrocities, including the shooting of several hundred Jews deemed unfit for work between June of 1944 and April of 1945, and the killing of 140 people, including Jewish women, children, with basically between 1942 and 1944, with poison injections to the heart. And basically, my thing is, look, if I'm sorry if you didn't realize that during the war, you killing people was going to be accepted. And it's kind of sad that these people were so brainwashed. And I think about the things that are happening today, and I see, folks that go on these killing rampages, and they are just brainwashed, absolutely brainwashed into thinking that they are, for some reason, somehow doing the right thing and that it will be justified. So I don't feel pity at all for this 94-year-old, and I hope he does get sentenced, even though he won't end up going to jail. I wish that he still could. The next story I want to talk about was this. Let's go to China, because now China is dealing with some similar issues. They've got this whole Muslim camp. I talked about it a little bit in the past, and there's this article, China's Muslim camp spending revealed. So China massively increased security spending in 2017 in the far western region of Xinjiang, where hundreds of thousands of Muslims are alleged to have been detained. And the spending is basically rose for security-related facility construction rose by 213% between 2016 and 2017, based on information from the U.S.-based Jamestown Foundation. Satellite data shows a spike in new security facilities, but China says they are training centers. So it looks like China is still trying to play the game that nothing really is happening there, but the truth just keeps coming out, and that they're just spending more money on this quote-unquote vocational education and training program. But many people think and believe that there are human rights violations that are happening, and hopefully we do get to the truth sooner or later. But this will be an interesting story that I hope gains more traction as we move forward. And then this last story that I think I'll cover, Cameroon Kidnap. Basically, an army is searching for 79 pupils. So this is in Cameroon, a country in Africa. An army search operation is underway in Cameroon to rescue dozens of people kidnapped from a boarding school. So here we go again. This is almost like the Nigerian girls in Africa that were kidnapped. At least 79 students and 3 others were seized on Monday in Bamenda, the capital of the Northwest region, a government official has told the BBC. The government and English-speaking separatists have accused each other of orchestrating the kidnapping. Cameroon's northwest and southwest regions have been hit by a secessionist rebellion in recent years. Regional Governor Adolphe Lele Lafrique de Pen Chofo blamed separatist militias for the kidnapping, but English-speaking separatists are accusing the government of staging the kidnapping as an attempt to discredit their cause. The authorities have declared a ban on vehicles driving between most districts. So we don't really know much so far, it looks like. No rebel group has said it carried out the kidnapping of the students, and the principal of Bamenda's Presbyterian Secondary School, which has pupils aged 10 through 14. A video of some of the children believed to have been filmed by one of the kidnappers is being shared on social media. And students, all boys, are being basically crammed into a tiny room. They look nervous. They also repeat the phrase, "I was taken from school last night by the Amba boys. I don't know where I am." So Amba is short for Ambazonia, the name of the new country that the separatists want to create. So again, this is really sad. Hopefully the government, the army, is able to find these students and bring them back safely. And whatever's happening in Cameroon gets dealt with. Cameroon is a majority French-speaking government, and of course, it just seems like this for a lot of these countries that were pretty much claimed by Europeans back in the colonizing decades or centuries, and now there's just still a lot of strife and a lot of infighting, culture wars and ethnic divides in these places. So hopefully they catch up with the times. Hopefully they're able to find these kids and hopefully just root out the people that are causing a lot of these issues in those countries. But anyway, that's all I really wanted to talk about today, and I did it in under 10 minutes. Yay! So let me know which stories are important to you outside of the elections. I feel like we've been focusing so much for the past 2 to 3 months, if not the past 2 years, on this one day. And here it is. So hopefully you all got it and voted. Let me know if you did, and I will see you all tomorrow. Peace out.